Hello, welcome to episode 42. This episode is a quick recap of my first 10 videos that in total are 42 now, and I consider them to be a comprehensive resource for the stroke survivor. And I will give a short excerpt from each of them as an example of the intention of the video. I believe that my series of videos in total is a very comprehensive resource or source of information on everything from, say, you are having trouble socially to how to access services, stroke services, to troubles with movement, speech, all kinds of problems which are related to having a stroke. And it produced by a person who actually had a stroke. I even made a video of your supposed average life expectancy after a stroke. As you can see, if you are a subscriber, which is free by the way, you get easy access to a list of videos on my channel. After subscribing, just click on the subscriptions button at the bottom of the page. Should be towards the right. And the list of your subscriptions come up, and included amongst them now is How It Conquered Stroke. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share these videos. I want everyone who needs encouragement to get it. Now, without further ado, the purpose of this blog, or vlog as they call it, video blog, is to give stroke victims a hope that with hard work, anything is possible. And I'm going to recount what happened in my mind, blow by blow, how I progressed, how I sped it up. I think maybe some of my exercises are very helpful for forcing the issue. And maybe you'll see similarities or differences in what you perceive as opposed to what I perceived at the time. I suggest you take from it anything you want. I hope I'm helpful. My intention is to remove from you worries that what you are experiencing now is not what you're going to experience in the future. There are several issues that have to deal with those very kind caregivers that are helping you at the moment. You should return their kindness. But I wanted to alert them to several issues that a stroke victim has that maybe they don't know about. Some issues bothered me to the extreme at first. And then they slowly lessen over time. When I went to a new rehab in Rhode Island, the first thing the guy said to me after he wanted to stop me on exercises, and then he said, "No, you have so many adhesions from being in bed so long and various muscle knots throughout your body. I have to work on those first." And it's funny because he basically is one person I credit for getting me on the right path towards not allowing me to develop this contorted posture that the average stroke person has. And I have a little of it, but not like the average stroke person, I believe. And he was the first one who put me on the right path to developing and then the importance of stretching. What do I mean? Think like it's a piece of poster board, flat, just from the paper mill. And then someone rolls up the paper board and then the poster board, and suddenly it's permanently in this difficult rolled up shape. And no matter how often you try to flatten it, it's not entirely flat as it once was. But every time you try to flatten it, it basically is flatter than it was if you left it entirely rolled up. And that's what you will have to unroll with stretching every day. At least in my case, I find this to be so. I found it to be so, and I still find it to be so. It is good for both sides of the body, but especially for the stroke side. So this guy, this physical therapist, basically put me on the right path. And also, by working on my knots, by working through a combination of rubbing and massage and working on my muscles and tendons and all that, he basically put me on the right path to building a really good future for my body. After you turn 40 to 50 years old, for the average person, the aging process means your golf game is slightly worse than the year before. In other words, for the normal person, aging moves you from the blue tees, then to the white tees, then the yellows, maybe even to the reds. As a fellow who suffered a debilitating stroke, I've moved from the hospital bed to the reds, then to the yellows, and now I'm about to move to the whites. This is the kind of thinking, all kidding aside, that you have to have if you are to recover from a stroke. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked a peck of Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. That simple tongue twister from our youth, which I thought was sort of a childish exercise, now it became a great challenge, and it still is. Hi, I'm Rick Palomino, and roughly 20 years ago, I suffered a debilitating stroke. Couldn't walk. Right side totally paralyzed. Couldn't talk. And I went from lecturing in a university lecture hall in Britain, for instance, sometimes 300 people, to a room where I couldn't open my mouth. Even saying yes to a question, simple to answer, like, would you like more pasta, Mr. Palomino? Was a delayed, yeah, yes, and it was a tremendous effort after that delay to get it out. By the way, if you like this video or the series of videos, please smash the like button and hit the subscribe button. I want to get enough subscribers going that it makes this effort look worthwhile. Okay, so roughly after 2 months, I could make my basic needs known. Now, the next thing is, I thought, hey, let me get the words out quicker than I'm doing. Because often I'm starting sentences and they've moved on, they get bored or whatever, and they move on without me totally saying what I need, and then suddenly they're delivering the wrong thing or giving me salt when I ask for sugar, whatever. Get the words out more quickly is important than having a well thought out sentence. It's like when you speak a foreign language, a clerk in a store is not going to wait for you to finish your grammatically correct Italian or German or French. They're going to just take the next customer. So therefore, it's more important that you realize to speak more quickly than total grammatically correct. There's time to correct your grammar, but when you first had the stroke, that's not the time. Though people will lose patience with you. Welcome to I think it was episode 4. You might choose woodworking, whatever you enjoyed talking about. While there is no cure for post-stroke, so you just had a stroke. Eventually, you're thinking, and by the way, this is a major question of concern on the internet. Eventually, you're thinking, how much am I going to recover of the old me? Doctors and therapists are outlining all kinds of recommendations and exercises and things to take in that totally occupy your day. As you suddenly try to cope with this total disruption of your life, eventually you look at these major tasks that are pushing out your old everyday tasks of your old life that was so important a short time ago, and you're realizing that what the doctors, therapists, individuals are asking you to do is going to involve a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. The program they're outlining for you is not pleasant. And you are thinking, if I do everything they ask for, still there's no guarantee of success. So why do it? In 1968, a film came out for which Patricia Neal won an Oscar. And what is significant to us stroke survivors is that 3 years before, she had 3 crippling strokes, brain surgery lasting 7 hours, and all while she was pregnant. From bedridden, even unable to speak, to winning an Oscar for her performance. In 1981, there was a film called The Patricia Neal Story, made from her experiences. Glenda Jackson played Patricia Neal in the film. If you get a chance to watch it, do. I had the good fortune to watch this film after my stroke. I was just flipping through the channels. Hello and welcome to episode 9. You know, when I was in the hospital, all those years ago, I desperately hoped that there would be a medicine that would undo the stroke magically. Don't we all wish that? Anyway, in my second week in the rehab facility, I was still bedridden. And a doctor friend was visiting me, and she broke my bubble. She said, at that time, there's no Santa Claus and there's no magic potion against stroke. Hello and welcome to episode 10, where I introduced the possibility of use of a TENS unit in stroke recovery. It's an additional therapy, not to replace other therapies, and there's no effort. You can turn it on and forget about it. Anyway, I started to intensify my therapy for fine motor coordination of my right hand, and also increase the strength of the fingers and the flexibility and the movement and whatever. And I had hoped to speed up my progress in playing the classical guitar. Thank you very much for watching this video. And until next time, my usual admonition, don't give in to stroke. Thank you very much.